Hey everyone, I'm Rachel.
And I'm David.
Join us for a tour of our interior cabin on the Carnival Panorama.
Let's go!
And this is our interior room on the Carnival Panorama. Now, one distinction I want to make before we give you a tour is they actually have two different kinds of interior rooms. They have the regular, which is what we have, and then they have the Havana interiors, and those are a little bit fancier, a little bit bigger. So this is truly the smallest, cheapest room on this ship, and we want to give you a tour. So we're going to start with the closet. It's enclosed, which is kind of nice if you don't like looking at all your stuff the entire time. But if you open it up, you see your full-length mirror. So it's actually really nice. Like, you can see everything as David is displaying for you. It's pretty nice, and it has a cord here so that it won't like fly off the handle if it gets crazy sea days, or if you have to hold on to it for some sort of stability if it is crazy. And it's really divided in two sides. There's a huge divider here, so even when I open the other side, it's like they're completely different. But we have your hanging clothes spot over here. There's not a lot of hangers, but I'm sure I can ask for more if I need them. And then on the other side are all of your drawers. So we've got some open drawer space, and we have our safe down here, which is pretty small, and somebody left some lovely garbage in there for us. So
Yay.
We'll clean that out, but it's very small. And then we have some drawers, and they are unfortunately not soft close drawers. It'll be okay for our purposes.
Yeah, it is the cheapest room, so...
It is the cheapest room.
The cut corner somewhere.
Yeah. And now I guess we'll go to the bathroom, which is our door over here, and the light switch is on the outside as normal. This is also an emergency light, so if there's some sort of issue on the ship and they need to, call you to your muster stations, this should flash a light for you. But inside the bathroom, I actually can step inside this one, even though it's a cheap room. It's actually not that small compared to some other interior bathrooms we've had, but it's pretty standard. So, toilet. It was open when we got here, but it is clean, so that's good. And to flush it just like any cruise ship toilet, the button's on the back. And the shower head looks pretty decent. You can actually move it up and down on this pole. So if you're taller or shorter, you can move it to adjust it. But it just has generic shower gel and shampoo, combined shampoo and conditioner. That's kind of fallen off there. We luckily did bring our own products. I would highly recommend that. I do also appreciate there is a shelf right here because a lot of smaller interior showers don't have that. There is also a laundry cord. So if you have wet things and you want to hang them to dry them, pull all the way across, actually all the way in the back. So this is one you probably wouldn't leave out when you're showering because it kind of circumvents the entire thing. But you can hang your bathing suits there, or if you need to hang anything else. Your controls for your shower are on this side, so hot and cold and turning it on and off. And you've got the lovely shower curtain. I say lovely facetiously. It's not my favorite thing. I wish it was glass. But it does look actually pretty well taken care of. And since it is kind of a curved or square shape in here, it's not going to make you feel as trapped as if it was one of those tiny circular ones.
I think the shower area is actually a little bit bigger than some other ones we've had. So even though it's a curtain, it's okay.
Yeah. Now, all your towels are hanging up here behind the toilet. That will replenish them as needed. But always remember, hang them up if you want to keep them and reuse them. Throw them on the ground if you want them recycled or want new ones. And they actually do have this pretty nice small mirror here for makeup. So this will be pretty useful. Since the room space is kind of small, I think I'll be in here doing makeup, but it is dirty, so that's kind of gross. We also have up here a shaving port. So this is only for certain kinds of shavers, but at least you have a room to plug them in here. And right underneath that is the shelving for the bathroom. Pretty good amount of space. There's actually it on both sides of the mirror, which I don't know that I've seen that before.
Yeah, I think that's new.
So that's really nice. We're gonna have plenty of way more space than we need as far as storage in the bathroom. And just a regular sink. Seems like good water pressure.
Decent.
Yeah. And womp womp bar soap.
Yeah.
And then we just have your tissue dispenser down below your sink. And trash can. There's also additional storage shelves on the other side under the sink, which again, this bathroom has probably more storage than any bathroom I've ever had on a cruise.
Yeah, seriously.
So that's really nice, and sanitary disposal bags if you need them. There's tons of handrails in the bathroom, and there's one right by the toilet, which is really nice, you know, if you have trouble, you know, mobility issues getting up off the toilet because it is pretty low. One thing to note with the bathroom is there's actually a pretty large step getting up into the bathroom from just the regular room space. That could be a little bit of a challenge for somebody with mobility issues. I am sure they have accessible rooms, but if you have a problem with any kind of steps, you probably need to ask them ahead of booking your cruise. So one important thing is that it does require a key card in order to keep your lights and your air on. So they actually provide us this dummy key card in here when we first got in the room, but you can put any card in there. It doesn't have to be your Carnival card. So if you have, you know, I wouldn't recommend like your driver's license or anything important, but if you have like a rewards card for a grocery store or something, that can fit in here and that could be what you use. And your light switch for the entire room is right underneath it. So it's really easy to remember, put the card in, turn the lights on.
All right, and you know my favorite thing in the room, if you watch any of our videos, is the thermostat. And this one gets some major props because it's got a decent amount going on here. It has a lot of different levels, which I did not expect. I expected coming into this room that it was going to be extremely warm, and we came in and Rachel was freezing.
It's so cold in here, you guys. And one thing too is like, as he was just moving those, I actually heard things happening in the background.
You can physically hear that this is kicking on. So it's definitely doing its job. Now you don't know the exact temperature, obviously. Unfortunately, you don't get that information here. So if you're particular about what you want the room to be, it might be a little bit of a headache for you still, but I think this is actually one of the better ones we've had.
Yeah.
I can literally feel it coming out from up here on all angles. It's definitely kicked on. And since this cruise is going down to Mexico where it can get really, really hot, this is going to be awesome. And here we have a very beat up privacy sign. So snoozing, that's kind of my life motto, just snoozing through life. But this one's pretty beat up, but again, you're just using it to let your steward know that you don't want to be bugged. And here we have actually a really large mirror for like a desk area. It's usually not this big. I'm pretty impressed. You can almost stand back here and see your full outfit. And here you have your room phone. It is very dated in my opinion. Like it doesn't seem like this is a 2019 phone, but it covers everything you need. Here's your little hot swap buttons so you can call those services real easily. Right here is just a room menu and some QR codes for some of the stuff you might want to read up on, you know, health stuff and the spa menu and stuff like that. And more importantly, well, there's our paper patter. So Carnival still does do paper patters. And up here, we have some plugs. So this is a regular USB plug, American outlet 120, American outlet, and the international plug right here. One of our biggest tips for you guys is to always bring an international plug, even if you don't really have devices that are going to use them, because it does give you more plugs in your room. And as you know, plugs can be kind of a hot commodity in your staterooms. We've been in rooms that had way less plugs than this. There's a couple more we'll show you, but this is okay-ish in my opinion. It's not the best. Now, when we get to the bedside, we've already noticed that there's no plugs on either side of the bed, but I have a weird feeling that this would be an awful situation if you needed a medical device while you slept, because this is a pretty big distance.
Yeah, these are the closest right now to the bed.
These are right now, this is the closest we got to the bed, and that could cause some major issues. Now, Rachel mentioned the accessible rooms. Those might have something made for medical devices, or they just straight up built the rooms with plugs on the bedside. So hopefully, fingers crossed that those rooms are a little bit better. But down here we have a drawer right there with a hair dryer.
Oh no! He's making a mess everywhere.
Sorry. It looked powerful to me, but I don't use a hair dryer.
It looks powerful, but you have to hold the button down.
Yeah, you do. This is
it's one of those.
Clicker. It does have a little speed adjustment here. And it is hot air coming out, so I don't know what that's worth. I don't know what that does.
And now there's papers on the floor, all over the floor.
Yeah, I'll pick those up. Here's a nice little stool, actually. Actually, it looks like it's got some stains on it, but whatever, just sitting on it. And then there's a trash can down here, nothing too exciting. All right, and there is only one drawer here. It's just the one with the hairdryer in it. This is not actually a drawer. It's just like a stabilized thing. So only one drawer at the desk, kind of meh. But overall, it's an okay space. Like a laptop's gonna fit okay here if you needed to work from here. Something like that, it would be okay.
Yeah, and I do like the lighting in the mirror. Like it's gonna be good lighting. And the switch is right here as well, so you can turn it off.
Oh, good call. Yeah. All right, next up is the television. So we always tell you guys, don't jiggle, wiggle, don't pull on the TV. Just give it, like if you're trying to hook up your own devices to it, just give it like a kind of a peek. It's almost always on the left-hand side. And it is accessible right here, but this is very, very tight.
That's very tight, yeah.
That's a good shot. Yeah, so this is pretty tight. This is one of the hardest mounts I've seen on a cruise room television. It's on there, but again, don't mess with it if you don't have little tiny hands like Rachel. I'm probably gonna make her stick the plug in there this time, but don't mess with it. It's really not worth it. Just watch on your devices or your laptops or whatever. So, but below that, we have the drinks we ordered. We ordered these ahead. It's a little bit of a better deal. And the remote is very, very basic. This almost looks like the kind of remote they have in like the old people hospital.
It kind of does.
There's no way to change the input on here. We always recommend bringing a universal remote if you're tech savvy enough to hook your own devices up. I think that's actually a pretty good way if you're going to be spending a lot of time in your room, or you never know if you're going to have to spend time in your room. You never know if you're feeling motion sick. And we have some shelves here. Actually, pretty decent amount of space in this room, I feel like, just in terms of storage space. And we have some pool towels here. They actually are pretty soft, but this is probably the shortest shelf I've seen, but still grateful to have them. Better to have them than literally nothing here, because that's the alternative. And we'll move on over to the refrigerator, which has a lock on this door for some reason, but here's our fridge. Now, it looks like cans will fit in the door, which is usually the first thing I look for. A lot of cruise ships do not have enough space to stick a can in the door, but this is actually very, 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 very cold.
I can feel the cold air coming out.
Yeah, it's blowing, and this shelf is like freezing cold, so it is almost like a little mini freezer. Awesome. Now, one of the most important features in your stateroom is your bed. And I will say, like, the overall space in this room is actually pretty big, and so the beds feel like a pretty good size. Now, we have in our notes our previous Carnival cruises that the beds weren't particularly comfortable, but I'm going to stay open-minded here, kind of give it a shot, and I'm going to get my hopes up a little bit. Here we go. Oh, actually, hold on a second. Actually, that's not too bad. It's a lot better than I remember. Now, I think it's actually going to be pretty good. Now, again, we won't really know until, we've been walking around all day and we're doing our excursions, but I don't think we're going to have an issue sleeping. I'm a little bit worried that this material is going to trap heat in and we're both going to get pretty warm. So we'll have to give you guys an update on that. But overall, I think it's not going to be too bad. It's going to be a little bit better than I remember, I think.
So what would you get out of 10?
Right now, it's like a 6.5.
And now it is my turn to do a bed test, and I am the pickier sleeper, so I'll be the true judge of this. It does feel nicer than I thought it was going to. Yeah, I think it's going to be fine. I think it's better than the hotel we slept in last night. I'll give it a 7 out of 10, but with the caveat that I might go higher in our review. And we do have 2 nightstands. Each side has it. They're exactly the same, so we'll just show you the one. But there is a lamp here, and it switches on and off right here.
It's actually a pretty cool lamp.
Yeah,
like the style of it's cool.
My only pet peeve is I wish there was a USB plug right there. They could totally put one, and they didn't. Just saying. And then a teeny tiny little area to store things, which I actually really appreciate because like I have a journal that I'll keep in here. I usually keep like my medicines and stuff in here, so there is at least space. I would appreciate probably having like a shelf in the middle.
That's what surprises me about it, is there's no shelf.
And like I said, that is definitely not a soft close, so don't want to wake David up with that early in the morning. But both sides are exactly the same. And if you did have these separated into two twins, then they might be in the middle to give you more space between the beds. In the middle, in the back, there is a light switch that controls the room. So you turn that off like that. But it does not control the desk, so you'll have to make sure you do that separately. And we do know that our life jackets are actually under the bed, but there is some space as well to store your larger luggage because there's really not room in this closet in the bottom to store any luggage at all. So we're just going to unpack everything and then slip it underneath. We've been in the room a few days, so we wanted to share what we actually think about the room now that we've lived in it. And, you know, it's an interior room.
Yeah.
It's small, but actually not as small as I thought it was going to be. And it doesn't feel super congested, I don't feel like.
No, it's actually pretty nice. And I think, you know, if you're a seasoned cruiser, you know what you're in for with the interior rooms. But if this is your first cruise, I wouldn't be like put off by it. You know, if you're not going somewhere super scenic, I still think that an interior room is like a great decision because it brings the cost of the overall cruise down. And I really do think you're going to have a good time in here. But I've mentioned it before, and I think going forward, it's like a staple. I don't think I would really want 3 people in this room.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost exclusively a couples thing, in my opinion, because it is very intimate. You're very, very close to each other, and the bathroom's just there and everything. So
well, and we've done an interior with 3 people, and it's just not the greatest. You know, people end up having to be in bunk beds, and you hit your head. It's just not a good situation. One thing I will say about interior versus balcony is that at least on this ship in this room, the air conditioner is going strong.
it is working.
This is a very hot cruise. It's very, very warm, and we do not feel that at all in our room. It has stayed comfortable consistently.
Yeah, I really love that. It's always a big concern for me because I'm just always perpetually hot. So it's very, very annoying. And this room's been great. The refrigerator's been great, which is very surprising to me just because it takes a lot of power to keep these ships cool. But overall, I think the room is like actually pretty nice. I'm not a big fan of fake wood and stuff, but I still think they did like a really good job, and it feels more spacious than a regular interior to me.
Yeah.
But the one thing that really stood out to me, I have one major complaint with it, and it is that lip leading into the bathroom. I do think that's an actual problem for some people. Yeah. I kind of glossed over it when we were doing the room tour, but I ended up clipping that pretty hard, and it actually really messed my foot up, but it's better now. But again, it's one of those things I wish I had kind of talked about more earlier. Something to really, really keep in mind. If you can't lift your leg as high as you want to, it could actually be a problem, I think. So
specifically about the bathroom, the storage amount is actually crazy. Yeah. Like, we didn't use half of the shelves in there, and so there's plenty of room. The shower space is actually pretty decent for one with a curtain, but the pressure could be better.
Yeah, that's my only complaint about it, is really the pressure. It actually gets really, really hot, which I'm a hot shower person. So when that first hits, it's actually pretty good. So I was surprised by that. I just wish there was a little more oomph behind it.
And one thing about Carnival that we love is that we keep getting towel animals every day. So our stateroom steward keeps bringing us a different towel animal. We'll show you some of those. And that's just put a smile on my face every time we leave the room, and he cleans it and we come back and there's just a new friend waiting for us.
It's like a lost art form, I swear. And I think it's really cool that Carnival embraces it a little bit. Like, their mascot is a towel animal, and you can buy the towel animals if you want to. I just think it's adorable, and it's a really nice way to like kind of include the kids in something that's a little bit more adult, or to kind of bring the kid out of the adult a little bit, because when I see it, I get a big old smile on my face too. I just think it's sweet.
So overall, again, this is the cheapest room on this ship. Overall, Carnival is actually pretty much one of the cheapest cruise lines you can go on. And this is the cheapest room. It may go up to $300, $350 a person, but for 7 days, when you think about that versus a hotel.
How do you beat that?
And
you can't.
You get all your food included. I mean, you do have to pay extra for gratuities and drinks if you want them and things like that. But overall, you know, this is the cheapest room on one of the cheapest cruise lines. And I still think it's a pretty great room.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Like, I can't even fathom that. Like, I don't even know how they get away with that. They're just pretty much banking on people going to the casino, I guess. But it's ridiculously good. Like, if you're looking for like a really affordable vacation, I really don't know how you get better value for your dollar. It's that good. So one of the things I see online a lot are people like kind of weighing if it's worth paying up for the balcony versus the interior. Now, in my opinion, I always like the balcony, especially when these rooms on Carnival are already so cheap. But I don't know. I just feel like if you are looking to use your money elsewhere, or the interior is really all you can afford and you still want a really nice vacation, I think this is a great option.
I agree. If you are going somewhere that's like a bucket list place for you that you think is going to be really scenic and you're going to want to, look outside a lot, then obviously a balcony is probably the best choice for you. But for me, on this cruise in particular, or, anything where we've already been there, or we may be, not spending as much time wanting to participate in the ports part of it, we just are here for the cruise experience, I think that the interior suits us fine. One thing I will say though, if you are going to go for an interior room, I would highly suggest doing it on a floor that's very close to an area you can go outside in.
Yeah.
So most cruise lines will have like a bridge camera on their TV, so you can at least see what the weather's like. But like for me, I like to go out walking in the morning or something like that, and it's been really nice being pretty close to that.
It really comes down to, are you going to be okay knowing that you're not constantly going to have a view? Are you okay with being in a space where it's just you and the person you're with? Or are you the kind of person that's never in your room? Maybe it doesn't matter. You're going to be out on the pool deck when the pool deck's good and rocking. And that's a totally like valid way to enjoy your vacation too. So it is an individual kind of thing, I think. So for us, this works out really, really great. I think there's 100 different, scenarios where the interior is a totally valid route to go, and you shouldn't feel bad about doing it. You're going to have an incredible time. Don't let the lack of a view, kind of make or break your vacation. In my opinion, I don't think it's worth, losing sleep over. I think, just go with what works with you guys and your budgets, and just make an amazing vacation out of it. So
yeah. But what do you think? Have you cruised in an interior room on a Carnival ship or any other cruise line? And do you have any thoughts about, interiors versus other kinds of rooms, or even any questions if you haven't been on a cruise yet? Let us know.
Yeah.
And if you enjoy this video and want to see more travel content from us, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. But for now, I'm Rachel.
And I'm David.
And we hope this video helps you find the right direction for your next adventure.
Bye.
Bye.